Friends, it's Jeff. I'm with Amanda from Michigan. Hello, Amanda.
Hello, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
We're doing another mistyping conversation. I'm thrilled that Amanda is joining us. And I don't know Amanda, so we're going to just jump in with random questions and see where this goes. So you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Excellent. So the one thing I know about you is that you're married.
I'm married. Yes,
How long have you been married?
I've been married for almost 16 years. My husband and I got married when I was 19 and he was 20. So I'm 35 now. We have 4 kiddos. Thankfully, he took them out today. They are out of my home for a little bit. I'm like, if you come back, please be quiet. There's a lot of children. So I'm grateful for him to take them out.
How old are your kids?
12, my oldest he's a boy, and then 2 girls in the middle, 10 and 8, and a 5-year-old boy.
Wonderful. If I didn't have to go through early childhood development, like ages 1 to 5, I would have loved to have had more kids.
I love that age, honestly. I think it's harder now. I'm like, where's the little ones? It's just mentally harder for me right now. Physically, I can sleep through the night a little better. But the mental exhaustion of this problem, that problem, like them fighting, me mediating. I feel like I'm mediating too much. That's one of my parenting issues, but it can be a perk, I guess, too.
You feel like you mediate too much?
A little bit, yeah. Conflict is hard for me, so I don't like it. I want it to stop.
Fair. I was talking to somebody just the other day. They were like, who likes conflict? Why is conflict
You're like,
good?
some people, AIDS maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe some people do.
I get in a fight with my dad and father-in-law intentionally over politics because I just love the buzz of yelling.
Look at that. Okay,
But I'm a philosopher, so.
That's cool. I wish I was a little bit more like that.
And you grew up in Michigan?
Yep.
Excellent.
I'm a hairstylist and I own a salon. I just opened a sensory-friendly salon in my town about 6 months ago.
And it's yours.
It is mine, yes. It's little and it's perfect. I'm so grateful for it.
Entrepreneur.
I've always dreamed about it, so it's been cool for it to happen. I've done hair for like 17 years, but I was doing it, part-time for a lot of the years because of the kids. So I do.
Yeah.
I'm home so much because I work right by my house and can be flexible. But yeah, I definitely am a working mom.
Perfect. Tell me about the desire to be an entrepreneur. Because that can be heavy lifting.
I always knew I wanted to just be independent stylist. So I worked in salons a little bit and I was like, once I have kids, I want to open a home salon. And I just knew that I love to be my own boss. It's very hard for me to have a boss. I'm not a fighter, like I said, but I definitely can be like, I don't like the way they're doing this. And I just want it to be the way I want to do it. So I tend to just be like, okay, I'm out, more than try to like advocate for myself. So that was kind of early on where I was like, this is just what I want. Did the home salon thing. It was amazing while I had babies. And then that just kind of got hard with the kids being home. And so COVID, I stopped working for just like a year with my last baby. It was right before COVID. He was born and it kind of worked out that I was home. And then I missed doing hair. So I was like, I'm just going to go to a salon and be just an employee again. And it was so hard for me. So it's just like, I'm a dreamer. I need to do my own thing. And it's hard for me to be told what to do.
Talk about being a dreamer. I wouldn't associate that with wanting to be your own boss.
Well, I love like curating and just the planning of making a space for myself is like intoxicating. I love that feeling. So that's like probably the main thing. I really wanted to create this certain space, especially because I have some neurodivergence. It's sensory friendly. I get very overstimulated easily in salons. So that's a part of it. I really enjoyed the dreaming about the space and how the feeling of the space and how I want my clients to feel there. And I go really deep with my clients. So it's like, it's just nice to have a very intimate space. So that's a part of it with the dreaming. Yeah, I guess every time I was in a salon that wasn't mine, I would just dream about having my own thing, like what I would want to do different from what they're doing. So that would be in my head and I couldn't really stop those thoughts.
It's excellent. Does it feel like how big is your shop?
It's like 800 square feet. So there's 3 stations. Okay. Yep.
Perfect.
3 stylists.
So do you have 2 other folks who are renting?
Yep, just renting.
Is that how that works?
Yep. So sometimes I'm alone, just depending on the days that they're there. Sometimes there's like 1 to 3 of us in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
little. I always want something little.
Do you have a problem marketing yourself?
Yes.
Or are you good at that?
Well,
Talk about that.
I'm not a salesperson at all.
Mm-hmm.
So the marketing is a little challenging for me. Like social media, it's like, okay, I feel definitely uncomfortable putting myself out there. I can put my clients or like their hair photos out there, but the
Sure.
face-to-face, my face talking, like I'm getting photos actually of the salon tomorrow and some of myself in the salon, and I'm just like dying about it. Like don't really want to be, there's like a mixture. I want to be seen, but it's like, I want to be invisible too. That's hard for me to put myself out there. So the marketing element can be a little tough. Sometimes if I'm really having a confident day, which can be kind of rare for me, I can be like, okay, I can see it, and I put myself out there, just different parts of my life, and then kind of fall back into a slump a little bit of like, oh, the social media thing, it's a lot. It's a totally different part of, it's what you have to do now as a marketing tool, but
Sure.
it's a love-hate for it.
That's a great answer. Talk about confident days. That's a good phrase.
I would say there's less confident days than confident ones, but if I'm really in like a creative flow, I can feel confident. I can believe in myself. I know in my head that I'm good at what I do. I have like a lot of good, like literally reviews and things I can read to tell myself that I'm good and good enough and talented. But I would say I lean toward the not good enough, like always striving for a little bit better, or just like a little wanting to slightly hide, even in my goodness of like, thanks for the compliment, but it feels a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Believe in myself is a big buzzword, unfortunately. So do you feel, can you talk more about what that means to you?
Believe in myself. I would say sometimes it feels like there's like just a weight pulling me back. Like I can be like, there's no reason for me not to be able to do this. I know I have what it takes. People are telling me I have what it takes. I can have like ideas I think are good and whatever. And it just feels like really hard for me to get my body to like do it. It's just is like, I love doing things privately. Like I don't like to be perceived. I don't like people watching me be creative even, which is funny because I'm in a creative field. So I don't mind doing their hair or whatever. But like even that, I'm like, I kind of want to turn them from the mirror. I just want it to be like, surprise, here you go. So yeah, it feels frustrating to me sometimes where I'm like, I look at other people and it's like, they just seem like they just do it, or they make this video and they're just saying what they feel or what they think. And it can be hard for me to get myself to do it. But there's a part of me that does believe in myself too. Obviously I did open the salon and I did some things that people never do. So I do believe in myself in some ways, but thankfully my husband is encouraging. He's also very grounding. I would say he's not a hype person. He's more like challenge my ideas until they're like good. So I am grateful for that. But he'll be like trying to get me to advocate for myself, like almost devil's advocate a little bit. And I'll just be like, you're right, it's a bad idea. He's like, no, I'm trying to get you to like tell me you do believe in it or you do believe in yourself. And I'm like, okay, I just like will shrink down if I get a little bit of a pushback.
Yeah.
So that's always something I'm kind of vacillating with in my mind.
So on the business, you process at home with your spouse. What can you describe what your conversations kind of look like regarding your business?
So before I opened the salon, I would get ideas. And usually it was because I was like, I need to get out of the place I'm at for whatever reason. I don't know if that's my flight response or just my dreamy response. But I'd be like, there's a random little shop that I see that's kind of a hole in the wall that looks cheap. Because I'm very like practical in the way of like financial. I'm not really a big dreamer financially. So he'd be like, why? Like almost like, come on, babe. Like you can do better than that. So he would push me to dream like a little bigger. I tend to kind of dream small and cozy and just like what's practical so I can almost just like make whatever I have. I love to make, I don't know, beauty from ashes or like something good out of something a little crappy. And I would say that that's like this, it's just so wonderful. But I think there can be a fear to dreaming too big for me. So he would challenge me on that and be like, I don't really think that's a great idea. Now, because it actually happened, this one actually made sense. It's better than I ever really dreamed it could be. It's in our little downtown area, which is so cute. And I didn't really think that would ever open up for me. There hasn't been as much processing because things are actually going pretty well. But it usually is me trying to work it out in myself, ruminating the same thoughts over and over again, and then finally like just spilling them out in a not very concise way. And he's like, He's very like by the book, say one thing, then the next thing. He's like, this
Yeah.
isn't really making sense to me, but is this what you mean? And he definitely helps me sort my thoughts and my feelings out. I'm very grateful. But it's not like he enjoys listening to my jumble all the time because it's not always very concise.
It feels jumbled to you, or do you think it feels
It feels jumbled
others?
to me. I like vacillate a lot of I can kind of see this or that. I'm not really a worst case. I would say I'm optimistic, but I'm more of like a smaller dreamer, if that makes sense. He really does see the worst case scenario, so he'll kind of pick it apart. But yeah, I would say I would be like optimistic at first. Well, this will work. And then he kind of picks it apart, and then I'll just be like, oh. And he's like, no, don't give up on it.
Yeah.
I'll kind of go from like, just deflate.
Right. How often are you thinking about your relationships, specifically like your friendships?
I would say specific friendships, not necessarily. Being lonely and wanting a community or wanting friendships in general, I feel that. I think about that. But I can feel a little hesitant to like, I'm not really an initiator with my friends very much.
Okay. Why did initiation come up for you in terms of thinking about your relationships?
I can see myself being like, oh, I'm lonely. And then I'll be like, oh, I guess I could reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
It just is almost like an afterthought. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It seems like a lot of work. Or they have kids. I have kids. Like they're just,
Yeah.
I can be a little slow to that. And then when I do initiate, my friends are like, good job, Amanda, you did it.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, guys.
Fair.
We had like a friend group with the best initiator who moved away, and it was like the rest of us aren't quite as good about it. But I would say my friends know, they know that I'm like the same as always. Like they're not like, what's going on with Amanda? Are we not friends? That is not a thing. They're like, oh, we just know you. You're there still. We're good.
So your jumbled thoughts aren't necessarily around your relationships. You feel pretty, for the most part, as well as anyone can, you feel pretty comfortable thinking
I
about
guess family relationships could be a little harder. And I'd say that would be from just some different, I have deconstructed my faith. My family's still extremely evangelical. And that's really hard for me to navigate that. And I feel just nervous in some ways about my family relationships.
Yeah.
Because I hate the small talk. I don't want to stay on the surface. And it can feel like almost unbearable when I'm like, we're on different pages and I can't really share what I'm feeling. So those elements, I would say my parents or my family can weigh on me more specifically.
Does that materialize in a certain way? Like, is it pressure to conform, or like you're just not into the topic anymore? Or you don't share the values? Like, how's that kind of?
I would say
work
it's
itself out?
feeling like a giant disappointment to my parents, even though I don't think I'm a disappointment.
You're an entrepreneur. You're a mother of 4,
Yes.
and you're a disappointment in
Religiously.
because you're not practicing in the way that they would prefer.
Yes.
Okay.
They are just my family is pretty fundamental.
Yeah.
It's every second of every moment that they would just talk about church and God and all that stuff.
Sure.
And so that is very drilled into my brain.
Mhm.
That's something I should be doing. And as my faith has evolved and deconstructed, and I would say I'm kind of optimistically agnostic right now, that would just be like a total crisis for them. So I really haven't shared. I wish I could share more with them. I don't feel quite comfortable doing that yet.
Yeah.
So I can feel maybe fake, or I'm just like tiptoeing around trying to kind of avoid that topic because I know that they'll just be like totally devastated
Sure.
that I'm not what they dreamed that I'd be.
Right.
So that's hard. So it's like a shame route, I would say for sure. There's a disappointing, how could we continue in a deep relationship with this, just feeling like there's a chasm between us on a spiritual level.
Right. Does that affect you in that way? Does it make you feel a sense of valuelessness?
Yes, I would say for sure. Like my value was 100% in my mind that I was like a Christian, practicing, doing all the things, going to church. And I feel like my dad's kind of said that in a way. I mean, kind of like, oh, at least you're a Christian, if there'd be frustrations or something. So then it's like, well, what if I'm not? Like, what am I now? Nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really hard. My parents are divorced, so my mom's a little different. She still the same, but she wouldn't make me feel valueless. And he probably wouldn't either. It's just like I kind of freeze up. There's still some trauma there.
That's just where
It's really hard for me.
That's where you
to, like,
yourself
go there.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm valueless, but like I see myself a lot of times like through other people's eyes, maybe, or like, well, kind of imagine what they would think,
Sure.
which could be false. I mean, I'm imagining it, but there's some evidence, a little bit of that,
Yeah.
with how I've heard them talk about other people and stuff.
Do you feel like you do a lot of inner processing of your emotions and just your sense of self?
Yes,
Yeah.
nonstop.
Nonstop? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I've been into the Enneagram for like 10 years about, very obsessively.
Mm-hmm.
I was like the first one on all of my friends. I'm like, everybody's got to take this test. It's so amazing. And I remember being like, I'm going to find myself and just like, I really want to identify with something here. And kind of thought I did with what the test said. And then that wasn't resonating after a couple of years. And, you know, it's just been a little bit of a thing. So I can really be very obsessive about like researching this versus that. A lot of vacillating in my mind all the time. I don't know if that's like OCD, maybe. But yeah, sometimes I'm just like, why does it matter? Like, I am who I am. But I really want to like know every little part of myself very much. I wouldn't say as a younger person I necessarily thought about that. It's been more in my 20s and 30s.
Sure. Do you experience what I might call envy of others very frequently?
Maybe people like very comparable to me. So like in my field, possibly.
Sure. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Like,
in general, I wouldn't say that word resonates a ton.
in terms of their accomplishments? Or in terms of something else?
Yeah, maybe their accomplishments.
Say,
Or like if they were to get a promotion or something and I wouldn't, maybe that. Yeah, I guess that's an accomplishment.
you had specified in your field, so it's more those who are...
Like I don't look at other people and be like, I really want that thing they have necessarily. But I
Yeah.
guess if it were a little salon that I really wanted, that would be an envy of somebody like that.
Yeah, right?
It's specific. It does feel very specific.
That does, right? That's excellent. Oh, that's excellent. You'd mentioned twice something that stuck out to me that had to do with getting into your physicality and doing it, or use language of not initiating. Do you find that a challenge to get into your body to do the things that you want to do?
Yes. My energy is very random. If I can, I'm not really a planner at all. And then I'll get like an idea, a burst of inspiration, and usually something creative, and I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, sometimes I'll do a task and then I'm like, oh, I get a little dopamine from that or something and do the next task. But I would say, yeah, I can go all day without doing much of anything. And then finally at that last moment, before my husband gets through the door, I'm like cleaning frantically. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, look what I did today.
So kind of a...
But yeah, so I'd say it's a little procrastinator for sure.
Right? Is it the case? Do you find that your mental life is in the past either? Like if you're not really necessarily in the future, but are you in the past much?
I'd say it does take me a little while to process stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like to kind of sit and process it and think about, I really like thinking about like the why, or why did I do that? Or why did that person do it? And that would maybe be past, because it would be like, why did that happen? Yeah, probably the past. I can be very like spacey. Like my family's like, where are you?
Sure.
It's not usually about too much of the future. That's hard. I've definitely thought about that question because I've done some research with the literature. I think I'm more past focused.
Okay. Like, yeah, what has stood out to you in literature that kind of connected with you?
I guess I've been like, am I? You know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to know. Like, you only know your own brain.
Mm-hmm.
But like somebody in my life, my mother-in-law, she's just like plan for the future. I feel like she's always 2 steps ahead of me. So like in a room,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, like, hold on, I'm still catching up. Like there's just a catching up feeling in a lot of situations, maybe, especially with very planny future focused people, like planning weeks. I'm like, weeks ahead. Like, can we just like do tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
In terms of your business, do you like the financial side of it?
No, not a single bit.
Not a single bit.
I hate that part of it. I wish I could just charge people nothing. Just give me a good conversation.
Yeah.
That's what you can pay me.
I imagine in a field like yours, this is a place where you could mess some stuff up. Yeah. I assume you have given a bad haircut.
Yes.
When-
Definitely have given a bad haircut. Have like fried people's hair off early in my career, thankfully. Nothing recent. But I am optimistic I'm like, we can do this, like sometimes too much so. So I've kind of like had to learn like to be realistic. So I tend to try to be more like on the careful side.
Yeah.
A little bit more of I'd rather them say, you can take a little bit more
Right.
than take
Sure.
too much off the bat.
Yeah.
But yes, I have we've all had our mistakes for sure. And that will put me in the pit of despair. I will question everything about myself.
But you come across as optimistic in those moments in your mind.
I will come across optimistic. Like, I can do this for sure. I don't think about like, I'm not really a planner.
Uh-huh.
I kind of like a little bit of the challenge of like figuring it out as I go.
Uh-huh.
Even with haircuts and such.
Sure. It's the artistic side.
Yeah, exactly. Creativity is like, coming up with something new in the moment.
Yeah. Bang. Do you find that you talk about things that might go wrong ever?
Almost never.
Okay.
Maybe with relationships, like family, like I said, but it's not usually like, I don't usually have it verbalized. Like, what if this happens? Like, that's not really my inner dialogue or outer monologue either. It's more of just like that feeling, and then I'll have to dissect it. Like, what would I actually be worried about here? But it's not, I can never really pinpoint those things unless I think hard about what could go wrong. It doesn't typically come to my mind.
Yeah. It's a good answer. What was the hardest part of being a mom when your kids were small?
I do find it hard when there's just an unhappy, like I can't make them happy all the time, and I hate that. Like I just want them to feel happy, peaceful, joyful, and that's just not the reality of kids all the time. I really loved the baby phase. I loved like breastfeeding and snuggling and all that stuff, and I feel like I could make my babies happy quick, usually. And now that they're getting a little bit older, it's like, oh, like actually it's not my job to make them happy all the time, which is in some way a pressure off of me, but in other ways it's like, oh man, like they have to sit in that bad feeling, or I have to sit watching them have a bad feeling. That can be hard for me.
Yeah.
I do want to fix their stuff and make them happy. And I know it's not always healthy to do it. We have to have all the different feelings.
Do you have siblings?
One brother, yeah. He's 2 years younger.
He's younger. Does he have issues with your parents and religion?
Well, he's a pastor, so he loves religion.
Perfect. So,
he's like an evangelist type of pastor.
okay.
So, yeah, I'd say we kind of both, he like stayed more and sunk in deeper, and I questioned.
Sure.
And changed course.
Did your questioning come out aggressively?
No, not at all.
In fact, would you bring up anything that would be like, if you really saw something problematic, would you bring it up?
I wish I could say yes, but I don't know. I mean, I can get tongue-tied when it comes to a conflict or bringing stuff up. Like, I really do have to feel very safe.
Yeah.
Safe in the relationship. I mean, I'm not afraid of my brother, like, being dangerous or something, but, like, just I don't feel like he'd understand. And that makes me shut down.
Yeah.
And just want to avoid it, honestly.
Right.
It feels like I won't have an influence on this. That's what it feels like, I guess. But if I do think I could have some influence, for sure I could say something, like to my cousin or somebody else that I'm close with that has more space to just be honest. I don't feel it as much with my family. But I love a good banter if I'm like with my husband or something. And I've gotten better with that. In the beginning of our marriage, I'd say I did kind of like, he's grumpy. It's like, what can I do to make you happy? More people pleasy. Now I'm learning to find my voice and argue more in a good way.
Yeah.
But I have to be really, really close to the person.
Yeah. You have to be in a comfortable spot to do it.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen if an argument went sideways?
Worst thing. Part of it would be like I'd freeze up and not really know how to say what I'm thinking, because that can happen a lot. Jumble my words up. It probably does come down to just feeling really hard to articulate and being misunderstood.
Okay.
And just feeling like there's a chasm between. I keep saying the word chasm because it just does feel like I do want to connect so much with people, and I think I can on a ton of things if there's an openness. But when there's a closed offness, it just is like, what is the point? Like, they're not going to be open to me. They seem closed off. It can feel like just not worth it.
Bang. Do you fear being separated from people you care about?
Yeah. Yes, in the way that like I fear it, but I don't do a lot about it, if that makes sense.
It does.
Like I can think, okay, I want to be close so bad to people that I disagree with or something like that, family or whatever, but I'm not like pushing for the intimacy. It's like I'm just more avoiding. So it's like it does feel like a fear, but I'm not really. I guess that sometimes we back off in fear. But if I want something so bad, I can question, like, why don't I push for it?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and land the plane here in a second, because I think there's a ton of stuff to go off here. Do you find that when you connect with the people closest to you that you're trying to pull them into your emotional life?
Yeah.
Well,
I think so.
What does that look like?
So I would say it looked like venting a lot about my parents' divorce and my disconnection from like my mom as a teenager, feeling like I never was good enough with my parents, like that kind of feeling or thing I would talk a lot about. It was like I can definitely feel like a trauma dumper a little bit, like
sure,
pulling people into my downfalls or my insecurities or different things like that, which would be, I think, pulling them into my emotions, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels right.
Conversely, you have a job where I imagine you can be emotionally more present for the people that you're serving. Yeah. At least that's my vision of what a salon might look like.
Yeah. I mean, I love the one-on-one. I love when I can get people to crack open real quick.
Okay.
In my chair. And when I can't, I am dying. I'm like, they hate me. Why would they not be sharing with me their deepest, darkest secrets?
Yeah. Is it the case that you enjoy being in even some of the darker emotions that some people would voice? Like, is that actually a place of comfort for you?
Yes, if it feels genuine. Sometimes I'll notice, like, I feel like I'm pretty good at navigating some of the unspoken as far as, like, and I'm very interested in psychology, so I've done a lot of hobby research and my own therapy and stuff like that. So it's like somebody will be saying something and I'm kind of picking apart, well, I think they're doing this and this might be actually what's happening. Mm-hmm. I love the puzzling out emotions, puzzling all that stuff out. If it feels like they are really not self-aware, that's very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
And so I think I can sometimes get people to, like, I'll try to steer them to, like, get to self-awareness, which really, I think it's a self-preserving on my end because I feel safe when somebody isn't being fake at all with me.
Yeah.
Even if it's fake to themselves, that's like a scary feeling to me. Mm-hmm. So if that makes sense, I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, I will be in somebody's dark emotions if they're pretty accurate.
Yeah.
If I feel like they're off with something, it kind of scares me. But
yeah. Last question. Do you find that you push your spouse to see your emotional life ever?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I used to think of myself as like a really not very emotional person, like tough, like I can take a lot, not very sensitive, which is so funny because I'm obviously very sensitive. But it's like, I love honest feedback. I want honesty. I want to know where people stand with me. So just there was a lot of years that I just tried to like maybe stuff things down. And then it got to a point where I could no longer do it. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it too was spiritual bypassing of just like, it'll be fine. God's got it all the time. Mm-hmm. And then it got to this point of like, whoa, I don't even know what I believe. Like, this is feeling way heavy and it's just on me. It was like it was good enough for just have God for a long time to handle my emotions. I like pictured God seeing every little part of me and it felt like so soothing and I was good. And when that started to crack a little bit, where I was like skeptical, is that real? Am I being seen in all the ways? Then it's like, yes, my husband had to kind of be that person to see me. And I think it was a little overwhelming for him, honestly,
Yeah.
because I didn't always share all that. And then, I don't know, the 30s come, 4 kids come, and you're like, oh boy, COVID comes. All the things crashed out. My parents divorced in my late 20s too, so that was really hard.
Mm.
So yeah, I wouldn't have maybe thought that maybe 10 years ago. People kind of just looked at me as happy and okay, and like, I'm fine. I'm fine was always my narrative for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
just to not have to open it all up. But then it kind of all came out in my late 20s, early 30s.
Your impulse to try and fix your parents' relationship?
used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did used to feel that. And I think there was a time when I really believed divorce was wrong. Now I don't see it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everybody works out. So not anymore at all. But before,
Right.
I'd want them to see each other's side and things.
Or do you have an easier time seeing both of their sides when they're in conflict?
I feel like I can see so many things people can't see. Maybe that's arrogance. I just like feel like I can see all these invisible things in their relationship, or in like a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll share it if I'm, maybe this thing or whatever, like people will be like, oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, for my parents, for sure, I can see all the things, and they can't always see it, but I feel like there's some blind spots.
Yeah. Bang. All right. Lots to go on here. To be honest, I got no idea where we're going to land. I feel like you have a lot of strong characteristics of 9s, 4s, and 1s going on in a lot of your vocabulary. Just to float this, since you're going to be somewhat informed about Enneagram, have you considered these numbers, and do they come to your mind when you've kind of dipped your toe in?
So I first tested as a 2.
Uh-huh.
And I had no idea the tests were like inaccurate when I first did it. It was just like, oh. And spent some years as a 2 actually, and like thought I just was just the friendliest of persons. I don't know. And then was like so proud of myself for being like, I don't think I'm doing anything to be needed, and like secretly manipulative.
Right.
So that, and then I like was like, such a good 2. That one kind of was like, I think I'm more withdrawing a little bit, and went to the 9. But I do remember thinking about 1 for like a split second, but that kind of faded. So I've been between like the 9 and the 4.
Okay, that's where you've landed.
The 9
as
for
well.
a while, and then, yes, but it's been more confusing. It's almost like the more I learn, the more I can just be like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
And to reemphasize, just for the sake of everybody who's listening, the not uncommon, and the like actually being able to see yourself in it through Enneagram language, like, can take a long time. And that's actually, I think that more people should have that experience. I think that if the expectation is that things go very fast, and I think that's a mistake. So,
and I feel a lot of times it'd be like this person in my mind, well, they're this. They don't seem, am I like that? And then then I started getting to the point where like, nobody knows for real. They're all just confused like me, but they don't realize it. So then I was like, I can't go off of anybody I meet. And I'm just trying to read about it. But it's like kind of the best to hear from people that are that type.
yeah.
But I get skeptical about it because I've been so skeptical of myself. And I've been studying it for like a frickin' decade.
Yeah. That's very well said. And you're exactly the sort of person that I want to talk to in these kind of settings. So, stuff that hit me on the 1-9 side, you really emphasized some agents, a desire for agency up front in terms of being your own boss, creating a space for yourself, feeling overstimulated. I do realize that neurodivergence can have that element, but in my experience, if that comes out spatially, that there's something to be said there. There's a lot of
like a physical quality.
Yeah.
A body. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you're bringing in the world through your intuitive center, it may be the case that like neurodivergence in your center actually, come together. And so, like, for a head type who's neurodivergent, my guess is they may experience overstimulation in a different kind of way. And
Okay.
and so but I don't know that for certain. I have a kid
Right.
who's neurodivergent who's also a body type, and so this may
Okay.
be my limited experience.
Gotcha.
I think the fact that you want to build something as an entrepreneur, even though you have 4 kids, is incredibly interesting. The fact that you feel comfortable having renters in a space and you've figured out how to design this shows your aptitude. It shows your passion. It shows you that is very difficult to do. And especially having 4 young ones, and that speaks to, I suppose, some of the ways that I just come to this, that I see you in the world. You have all of that going for you, and yet you believe that getting into your body is a problem. That strikes me as really interesting because it sounds like you've got all kinds of things going on.
Funny.
The sense of valuelessness, I think, is interesting, especially because it's limited into just that space of your family. You had mentioned at one point that you experienced frustration, and early on you were using a lot of language I would associate with ones of always striving to be
Mm.
better,
Yeah.
of reading reviews that tell you you're good. Frustration, striving to be better, reviews telling you to be good. That all ends up pointing to that idealistic place. But that also frustration is also an emotion for 4s. The way that I was having a hard time putting my finger on how you were verbally processing, but you had ended up saying at one point that everything spills out at once. In my experience, that I wanted to ask you about anger on that front. If you experience ever the anger being similar on that front, I meant that as a question, but do you ever feel like your anger spills out all at once in the same way?
Only with my children,
Yeah.
which I hate that. I feel bad they're little. But like other than my kids, and I just feel like so totally myself with my kids.
Yeah.
Probably too much where I'm just like all the feels come out with my kids. Other than that, no. I've never really had like an anger meltdown or anger outburst to another adult.
Yeah.
Barely even in my marriage at all, actually. I will just go to cry or like shut down.
Cry and shut down. By the way, to all you parents out there, kids are specially designed to break you down and conform you to their will. This is their design. They have been engineered by the powers that be to do
My
this.
children are very good at that.
So
I was not good at that. I shut down as a kid. I was really shy and never really pushed back. Or I
because
tried too young and it didn't go well or something. So I did just like hold a lot in as a kid.
yeah, in that space, are you aware of the holding everything in?
I think so. I would say now I am. Like I feel very aware now. I've worked at that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not of like necessarily the specific feeling. I think there's usually a lot of feelings happening and I have feelings about my feelings and I'm mad that I have the feelings. It's all internal. But like as a kid, I think it would just be like take a deep breath, swallow it in, keep it together. So
Yeah.
I probably was more aware as a kid too, but I just tried to come across as just like really easy to be with, laid back, which I'm not quite as laid back as I wanted to believe I was.
And your motive for that was, could you name your motive for wanting that?
Why would I want to be easy? I think in some ways, I know this is going to be a buzzword for you, but like autonomy is a big thing for me. If I could be easy,
Yeah.
get through something, then I could be alone again.
Yeah.
Or I could do things the way I wanted to, just like kind of let me be back to myself. So I don't like the feeling of being, my mom was kind of like smothery, very hovery. It's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Just so please her. She could leave me alone. I could be in my room by myself. And I definitely didn't like seeing authority like kind of get really overwhelmed. And
Mm-hmm.
that could be hard to see, I guess, in authorities. meltdown or emotions or whatever. So I just try to keep myself easy.
We could do the mistyping chart. There's another part of our book which I suppose I'd want to pivot to. I haven't gotten really into the 9 side, but the amount of times that you mentioned optimism was pretty overwhelming, and the amount of times that you mentioned agency as well, and the desire. You had associated the word happy, which can mean all sorts of things, with peaceful a handful of times, and that also was interesting to me. The ability to see everybody's perspective, which I felt like you put special emphasis on, would be a superpower of 9s. The desire for honesty is something that I associated more with 4ness, but the fact that you lack anger in a way that is seeking to be seen makes me skeptical that 4ness is there.
That makes sense.
I do think that the amount of time that you spent talking through the space you have fashioned so that other people can come in and have this experience of the improvement of their physicality strikes me as a very 4ish ambition. I didn't hear a lot of artistry, and I'm in terms of like there's artistry there, but I didn't hear it in terms of your like that's where you're gaining your self-understanding and value is by the unique things that you bring. I felt like it was more about what you were fashioning spatially for the people you serve. And the fact that you've never gotten angry with another adult also. I don't know that 4s would say that. I don't know that 1s would say that, but
right. That makes sense. When you like look at the mistyping on like the Enneagram Institute site or something like that, it'll be like,
so you've done the work.
4s, I have done the work. I still am like, what? Why is it so hard? But 4s don't doubt that they're 4. I hear that a lot. Yeah. Does that seem real to you?
I bet maybe. I think people could be confused, but
yeah, for sure. It just makes me laugh every time I'm like 4 versus this. It's like, well, it's a lot more likely for the other number to think they're 4 than the 4.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I'm trying to think with the 9, like when I started pivoting from thinking I was a 9, it was during COVID, and I was really struggling with postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And just kind of unraveling in a lot of ways. So that could be, I know that 4s are more depressive, and it could be why I started pivoting to that. And I definitely feel creative. I'm a musician. I love to write songs. And that's where like my darker side comes out. I love to like get to the ooey gooey center of people and myself. And that seemed kind of 4ish, but maybe that's 9ish too. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I said it and I kind of kicked myself for it. My mom's a 9, but she was an art teacher.
Yeah. Right. Every number could be creative for sure.
How it gets expressed, how it gets expressed, and specifically what you want to achieve through your art may be something worth asking. Do you want to be like, is it the case that you really want other people to see you through the thing you made? Might be a way. I don't know how. I gotta think about this. Sorry. Let me phrase it as a question. What is the big win when you feel like you've done your job well? What are some of the big wins for you?
You're saying in relation to like my clients doing hair?
Yeah.
I'd say when like I'm happy with how it turned out, probably like first and foremost. And they're happy. And then we had like a really good connection to like talk. It felt easy. I love when it feels like there's a flow in the conversation and we can go deep. It's not just like surface conversation pains me so much. And I feel very tight in my body when I don't feel comfortable or they don't seem comfortable to go deeper, or there's a lot of like silence, awkward silence. I'm like, my body feels so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So if it's easy, like more comfortable with the conversation, we talk about something meaningful, or I can talk about like one of my special interest type of things, then that feels really good. But I am definitely hard on myself. If they're happy, but I saw a couple little flaws in there, it's like, oh my gosh, It's like, no, I need somebody else to do it so I can kind of like correct it in my mind of like, I am good again.
Yeah.
So there's perfectionism for sure.
But it's perfectionism because
I want to feel good enough.
okay. You get a lot of your sense of value in that space.
Yeah.
Bing. If somebody just used the words in a sentence, connection, easy, and flow, I would immediately say you're a 9. That's just what I would do. The idea that you want to feel good enough obviously screams a different number. So we could sit there. I need to talk to more 4s. This is probably my blind spot. And it's also my blind spot. You may know this, that I just type everybody as a 1. And because everybody's got my same motive, it's a super unhealthy, or not unhealthy. It's not a very helpful part of my disposition. But I would love to start. Maybe we just start with 9s and 4s, and I'll just sidestep that. And
I was gonna read you something.
Yeah, please.
That I wrote. Let me find it. Sometimes I worry though. Like I'm like, am I being manifesting the 4? Like, do I want to be more 4ish or something? But one day I was feeling anxious. I was like, things that bring me anxiety, like that at my core there's nothing, emptiness, that I must work hard to fill it up with interesting things and add interest to my relationships and into society. Like there's an emptiness in my core. Like I don't really know what number that goes to more. Like I'm very afraid of being just like nothing or boring. What does that speak to you?
Both those could. I mean, I think they could both work there, but I mean that could very easily come out of the heart of a 4. I heard the word anxiety there, which we really didn't talk much about.
Yeah, I would have said I was not an anxious person for most of my life. Looking back, I kind of laugh at that because I was like really shy. There was a lot of anxiety. I wasn't like a just go into a situation person. I'd stand back, kind of observe, cling to my mom, or like just be like, I'm good to stay home, like type of thing, which I think can come from a place of anxiety and introversion too. But then as I've gotten a little older, I can find myself feeling more anxious. But I really wouldn't have thought of that for a lot of years of my life.
Bing. That's it. That's helpful. This will be helpful, I think, for everybody. Just to pivot off of 1 for a hot minute. To be honest, like I keep going down the road with 1s with some of the mistypings, and it's just been a mistake. So, but moving towards 4s and 9s, especially if you feel like you're consistently standing back, you'll be familiar with the language. I mean, there's so much withdrawn kind of movement at times in how you're self-describing, and it doesn't necessarily sound like that's always a stress move, although it could be. But so jump into the mistyping chart, which is only available in the print version. For those who are watching on the video, you will be familiar perhaps with the fact that we have a mistyping chart in the back of our book.
I was like going to buy the book, and I'm like, I want to be spontaneous. I want to be surprised. But I will buy the book. But I didn't want to like study it. I don't know if that says anything about me.
Of all things, I have been thrilled at the emotional reaction of that sort from so many. A handful of other folks have said something similar, and it fills me with joy because it means so much. I mean, it means that you're taking it seriously, and it means that you think that there's something special here, and so I'm thankful. And especially if you've already gone to the Enneagram Institute website, then
Oh, I've been on it thousands of times.
Can't find myself. Okay, so 4s and 9s. We have that 4s often want to be understood, and that 9s often want to be included. Do either of those kind of hit you more?
I would say understood.
4s often feel irreparably flawed, and 9s often feel subtly forgotten.
I'm surprised when people are like, I want Amanda to be there. I'm like, oh. I just feel like a neutral presence in the world. So that surprises me when people remember me, I guess. But there is definitely an element of me feeling broken. That I'm wondering if my husband would say, like, no, it's the broken one. Because he always is like, you're not broken. So I kind of resonate with both, I guess. It's hard for me to choose.
I would love to come back to I'm a neutral presence in the world. That seems very specific. And that feels like it rings of self-understanding at a different level. Just
Okay.
just to earmark it. So it's written down on my yellow piece of paper right here. I was
Nice.
fours often speak to be known. Nines often listen to feel safe.
Probably within the last decade, I'd say more the speak to be known.
Okay. Fours often move to express themselves. Nines often move to avoid pressure.
Maybe avoid pressure.
Fours often reveal pain in order to connect. Nines will often numb pain to connect.
Reveal pain.
Boom. Do you experience any numbing? As a habit, does it feel like that would characterize your behavior?
My inner narrative for so long was I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's a numbing. It would like almost like trying to convince myself. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that, just like that. I don't do it anymore. I don't do that as much anymore, but that was in my head for a long time. But I'm not sure if that's an anger, if that's just like trying to regulate myself.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't think I numb too much.
I might come back to that.
Okay.
I'm fine is a huge buzzword. So like
Yeah, right. I know it is for sure.
But
So maybe
especially in this space, if you are saying I'm fine, are you being honest when you use that phrase?
I think I wanted to be strong, and I like to process things alone a lot, kind of figure it out. So it'd be like, I'm fine, suck it up, let me be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Or with my husband or somebody really safe. But yeah, I just I don't like people like fussing over me or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I believe it, but it's like kind of like hold it together till I can be alone, and then I can think about it later.
Perfect. And that's, I suppose I should ask the follow-up. That's because why?
It just feels extremely vulnerable to fall apart in front of somebody, or even like getting help from people can be hard for me. I really want to be self-sufficient.
I think those are really important right there. So not all fours want to be rescued, but a lot of them do.
A lot of them do, right.
So,
And I can see that maybe with my husband, like when we were dating. A lot of just like, rescue me, let's get married, like just get me out of this house kind of.
sure.
So I
Fair.
do find that in some ways, but yeah, really only from him. Nobody else. The rescue thing doesn't really feel like it resonates.
Yeah. Fair. Fours often grasp for inner honesty. Nines often grasp for an inner peace.
It probably is inner peace.
Bing.
To me, it does feel like it needs to be honest and deep and like true. But I want to like feel peaceful inside. And I think that's been where I'm like, I need to figure this out so that I can feel at peace with myself.
Yeah. Honesty will lead to peace, and peace is the actual goal.
I think so.
Being honest and chaotic, is that ever something that you're fine with? It may be chaos, but at least we're being honest.
Yeah. That's a tough. I do definitely want it to be. I'd rather it be honest. I'd rather there be chaos, to be honest, than just pretend like everything's fine.
Okay.
Except I find in some relationships that I can kind of just avoid and pretend a little bit when it feels like I don't know how to navigate the conflicts.
Avoid and pretend is a move to navigate conflict.
Yes.
Bang. Since you were studied, I'm going to be, my job now is just to be a mirror. So look at me as a mirror and not as anything more at this point. Fours often seek intensity. Nines often seek ease.
Yeah, probably ease.
Fours often address their grief aloud. Nines often hold grief quietly.
Hold it quietly.
Fours often crave depth. Nines often crave calm. See a lot of that, both of those in.
I would say maybe both are pretty equal.
Sorry, I don't need to answer for you there.
Oh. It's gonna be seen.
I've meant this whole time to say a caveat to this whole thing that you should go through these lists, dear listener, you should go through these lists with somebody else who knows you. And two, oftentimes half of them are going to be of this sort where it's like, they both apply,
Right.
which is entirely fine. That's why you landed on these two numbers. You're in the right place. Fours want to stand out. Nines want to blend in.
Me as a person blend in. Something I make, I love it for it to stand out.
That's a great distinction.
Like if I could see people like looking at something I did and gushing over it where I'm like behind a curtain, that would be like the best.
Right?
I don't want to stand next to it.
It's excellent. Fours are going to often struggle with envy. Nines are going to struggle with inertia.
Explain inertia a little bit to me. Getting stuck in this one spot, or like I always think of something moving at the same time.
Yeah, not getting into your body would be another way of putting that. Or
probably that. Yeah.
Both fours and nines, once they start acting, then generally things move. But I think nines intuitively probably are going to have a stronger sense of their lack of movement, struggle with lack of movement. Fours often fear being invisible. Nines often fear being disruptive.
Probably disruptive because sometimes being invisible seems nice.
Yeah, it sounded like that was desirable in some of that. Fours often intensify presence. Nines often minimize their presence.
Minimize.
I'm going to try and find something else that... There's 30 of these pairings. I'm kind of just bouncing to find things that we haven't talked about that might elevate. Fours often resist the past. Nines often resist the present. Does this hit you? I could unpack that a little bit as well. But.
Maybe like just unpack it a little bit.
Are you very aware when people are bossing you around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, don't do that.
Why don't you want people to boss you around?
I want it to be my idea.
Oh.
I want it to be my idea. And I want to do it on my timing.
I'd love to land there. That the withdrawn desire for agency is just all over a lot of your language. Yeah. And so what I suppose I find helpful at this point in time is just to give folks permission to put on a set of glasses and say, let's just assume that you have the 9 glasses on, and what would they do for you if these were actually true of your experience in that. So the thing that types are is they're really archetypes. You have a similar shape, form, funnel through which you process reality as a lot of other people who are very, very, very different than you, and yet a lot of the same motive and urges and way of being in the world have shared language. And so the thing that would go through my mind and heart for if you put on the 9 glasses would be to start to name some of the language that 9s have used for their shadow and see if that ends up hitting you, and to name some of the places where 9s bring a lot of value to the world around them. This can also be incredibly helpful for yourself and for the rest of us. It also is a great good if you know your spouse's type, because then you can talk about chemistry at a very different level, and what you bring to your table, the sake of your family and the rest. So, did you say that you knew Robert's type?
He kind of thought he was a 1.
Uh-huh.
I think he might be a 6.
Okay.
I kind of could see either of those.
Perfect.
He's angsty. He's an angsty person.
Perfect.
But he's also like HR. He's like,
uh-huh.
But I guess the system of that, which 6's systems, I don't know. It would be like counterphobic more if he was a 6, but he could be a 1. It's up to him really, but he doesn't seem to care that much. He's like, I am who I am. I'm like, I want that. Why do I freaking care so much to figure this out?
That's fair. 1s and 9s and 1s and 9s and 6s and 9s often are fantastic romantic pairings. And there's a lot of complementary energy going on there in terms of what the value, specifically what the 9 brings to both the 1 and the 6, who will verbally process and really have a desire for somebody to create a foundation for their emotional life and nines do that better than anybody in terms of not just the alleviating anxiety, but counteracting the inner monologue or the inner committee that can take place for those two numbers. Being that secondary voice that's actually trustworthy, it can be a very, very important person for some of us who are ones or sixes. So just knowing that sort of thing can be very valuable. And I assume, do you experience that? Do you experience yourself in that space of being a contrary voice to what's going on in his heart?
Yeah. I'd say we can calm each other in a different way, where if he's having, I would say maybe more anger would be anxiety and anger, kind of both for him actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I can be optimistic of like, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
We're okay. And I've like had to learn to not just say that too quick. I'm like, wait, I think this is where sometimes I did question the four, because I do really like to fix. I'm like, look on the bright side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can do that for him and be a calming kind of, he would have said I was kind of grounding. And now I'm like, he's so grounding to me. He always has been. But once I've like let myself like finally have like in my emotions, that was surprising for him.
Yeah.
Which probably speaks more to 9, honestly. And it's like, whoa, wait, you were like the steady one forever. Like, what's going on with you? I'm like, it's because I'm a 4 now. No, I just like let myself actually process something 30 years later. But I can be, I'm calm. Like literally my little, on the door of my slot, it says like mellow beauty for the open-hearted. That's like my slogan. So a lot of like calm, I can be a grounding person, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
Was that answering your question?
It does, because we're talking about gifts, and all of a sudden, like the mantras you already, in self-understanding, you already have. I mean, if somebody said, I'm mellow beauty to ground people, again, I would say, oh, okay. Yeah, I got your type. And I think
I should have started with that. I'm so sorry. This could have been 1 minute.
It's actually incredibly helpful that we dialogue around all the things, because as I said earlier, I think people go through this too fast, and it's really helpful to see the process as opposed to, here's the answer. You're a Capricorn. Right. Now act like a Capricorn. That doesn't do anything.
Right. Could you speak a little bit about merging to me?
Of course. Is it the case that you will mentally see the perspective of the person around you and meet them in that space?
Yes. I think I question that because, well, okay, I would say I'm always trying to find common ground.
Yeah.
So it's like, because I really want to be authentic in my merging.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm noticing like, oh, I don't know if that's exactly how I feel. Maybe how could we get it to be where I can probably, I guess, be in the same lane? So yeah, that would make sense.
But you feel this is good because you're exposing the tension that 9s are going to feel. So one of the ways that 9s are in the world is everything's breaking all around you, and some 9s will talk about how they're trying to plug up the dam with all of their fingers and toes. And in essence, that's what I hear going on there. It's both meeting the person where they're at with all you see some things that don't hit you right, but you're trying to meet them where they're at. And so there is both the desire for justice and harmony, for things to be right in the world, but there's also the desire for things to not be in conflict and antagonistic. Mm-hmm. And that's going to take a ton of energy to be in that space.
It does.
So if you feel that language, then we're on the right path.
Okay. So like, what would you think a 4 would be the difference in that if they were like, somebody else was talking about something and they were feeling differently? Would they just be like, no, I disagree? Or I don't feel like that, kind of a thing?
I think 4s are going to be very judgmental and true to themselves. And if they're serving somebody in a chair, cutting their hair, who is wearing the wrong t-shirt, they're just not going to talk to them and probably get through this, and move on. And then they're going to talk a lot of crap about them when they leave.
Oh, okay. No,
Uh,
I would be looking for like, oh gosh, I don't like that t-shirt. What do I like on
yeah,
them? What could
there
I
you go.
like feel good about?
There you go. That's
Because I want to like everybody very bad
I
in a
think.
genuine way.
But so two things going on there. The merging is there, and there's also like in your when you're in your sweet spot, you're in your shop. I imagine you've had the experience, as has been said, of really connecting to people, and where they see you, see your value, and elevate it. And notice how much the three language is going to slowly begin to creep in there, because that's
Mm.
where you feel comfortable and confident and in control. And
Yeah.
so, in those places where you're being celebrated for the work that you do, that is the road towards, some of those three tools of actually being able to see yourself as significant and worthy of acclaim.
That makes sense.
It also would make sense of why shame may feel like it's sudden and it's only in this very specific sphere, because shame is the emotion of your security number, and so it's a blind
Okay.
spot. And so that's how I experience fear.
Interesting.
Fear is a blind spot for me, and I just don't feel fear, but it like hits me suddenly when I actually have it. And so I would, TJ in his own nineness says he's very difficult to manipulate through shame, because
Hmm.
that's just not how he is in the world, you know?
Interesting. It's funny because my husband would say, like, he can use shame to get me to do tasks.
Okay.
So, but I think that comes from like a place of just wanting him to feel comfortable. He's like a person that likes a clean house. Like, if there's chaos, he can't handle it. I can handle more chaos than him with the kids and with messes and stuff.
Sure.
So, in that way, like, yeah, shame is very uncomfortable for me. Is that what you're kind of saying? Like, fours maybe would live in it a bit more, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, ah.
I think fours would be very aware that they come to the world and have an underlying feeling that they lack value from the beginning. And
I think I lack comfort.
yeah,
Like,
okay,
I want comfort
perfect.
more than the value side,
Yeah.
I guess.
And that can mean like not there's something about it, like putting on your well-worn sweater. Your home environment can feel that way, where it's like as it were, like the sterile cleanliness isn't what you're going for. And so like the home environment
Mhm.
for you feels a certain way, it feels a certain way to him. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
then
like it
and then
clean, but not like I'm just like, oh, we'll get to that.
yes,
It'll be clean one year.
there you go. That's perfectly said. And yeah, that would I think these are the places, like getting familiar with your stress move is the one thing we really didn't talk about, but maybe a good place to land is just thinking through what using the tools at 6 look like for you, what using anxiety in a healthy way might look like for you, what it looks like for you to be reactive when things are kind of getting chaotic, looks like for you in terms of the real values that 6s bring to the world, in terms of just being more relational, being loyal, and really elevating the common good. These are all things that are kind of accessible for you when things get stressful. Those are some of the things that come to my mind. Did you have any, you put out a great question for 9s. That's actually where I wanted to go. Did you have any other thoughts or questions about 9ness that kind of just seem strange to you?
I think I just probably discounted the depth of 9 sometimes
Mm-hmm.
with the literature, or I'm like, I feel complex in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But that could be like the neurodivergent element too, of just like, my therapist was like, you have to accept your complexity. And I don't know why a lot of the 9 stuff just seemed like more simple minded.
Yeah.
That sounds rude to say, but
No, I hear you there.
does that make sense?
It does. In my experience, 9s hold a lot in that the rest of us don't see. And so the literature may not be as aware of exactly what you're saying. That you're aware of so much more than is actually displayed. And that can be that can be a value for nines in that you're not rocking the boat by bringing up all your issues. But this is a real difficulty for a lot of nines, is that the rest of us don't know how you're feeling.
Right.
The rest of us don't know what you're thinking about at some levels. And so all we see is the desire to make things copacetic,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. There was a time during my postpartum depression, in COVID or whatever it would be called. We were all going through depression, but like I pictured like sticky notes, almost like I had been like, oh, I'll just deal with that feeling later. And just like a million sticky notes I just like kept pushing to the back wall of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then a gust of wind happened and they're just like floating around above me and I can't grab them. Like, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? What is this? Like, so in that way, I guess that would maybe be more of that 9-ish of like,
That's exactly
dang
right.
it, like the dam kind of broke and I didn't know how to grasp that.
Yep.
So in my head, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have so many feelings.
Yep.
But yeah, it wouldn't have been really what I thought for a long time. It was like, no, I'm fine. I'm steady. I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I just want to share all this stuff. Like, I'm sick of being dammed up.
Yes.
And that could feel like oversharing or like, I want to express this because it feels extremely cathartic to expel or express what I keep so much inside myself.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that like expressive language of the 4 started feeling more resonance. But it was like, there was a dam that broke.
You're
sure.
you're expressing exactly how that works in 9ness. And I suppose if one thing, probably the best thing to work on for 9s is actually there. It's not necessarily always getting into your body. It actually is not throwing Mentos into the Pepsi bottle and cranking down the lid, and thinking that that's going to be able to contain everything. Figuring out ways to allow your thoughts to matter to other people and to not feel like they're going to leave you or disconnect from you, or like 9s overestimate their anger. 9's anger comes out sheepishly to the rest of us, but they think it's like the biggest explosion that's ever happened. And, and so just knowing that it's not really that big. I have my first kid is an 8, came out of the womb screaming and screamed for 2 years. My second kid came out of the womb and made a couple of peeps when he was starving. And we kept saying to him, you need to do better than that. I don't know that you need anything, because he was so, like it's kind of that. This is how I see 9s in the world in terms of their anger. It's like, if you want to be heard, you need to probably anyway. The permission, you have permission. You have, because I suppose heart's message, because your presence matters. Like, you matter to your 4 kids. You matter to your husband. The things that you do matter. And if they were taken away, there would be a massive gulf in just internalizing the fact that the value that you bring to the world is incredibly rich and important to others. And so when withdrawing too far, you're actually robbing everyone else. So I knew this as my mom got very sick and went into just a shell for the last 10 years of her life. And it was such a loss to see this beautiful woman who I had known just kind of retreat, and like, don't let that happen. That was,
I mean, that resonates. Honestly, it's like, my husband will be like, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm just so like, what did I say once? I'm like, I don't like peanut floating in my body. Like, I can't get out of it. I don't know. Yeah.
That's perfectly said. And that's the one of the bits of language we have in the mistyping chart for 9s is that 9s drift. And that's what I'm hearing there is like, I'm going to allow the universe to take me where it wants me to go.
Yeah. I feel pulled like, just like to this and that and that. Like, it's for me to be like, I'm choosing to make this move or to do this thing.
Yeah.
In my day to day. If it's like I said, a dreaming thing, or I've been the one to like move us houses, but I'm usually looking for a little bit of stimulation, something to like decorate and change because I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. for sure. All of that, that's a great starting point. I think put on the 9 glasses and see what happens. I would love to hear back from you. I hope you keep connected to our work, and 10 years of kind of being familiar with the material and not really landing. I'll be curious to see what happens once you kind of say, nope, this is me.
It's feeling. That's why I think when I reached out, I was like, I think I just been like a depression that kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
Because I did think of 9 for a while, so. Well, thank you. Thank you for so much.
Of course. Amanda from Michigan, it's been a delight meeting you. Do keep in touch. Much love to your 4 kids and to Robert. And